California. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Today I'll be guiding you through A series Sun Salutations while Katie demos the poses. We're going to take you through 3 different variations of A series, starting with the most basic and then moving to the traditional variation, because it's really important to have a solid foundation in these practices. So please meet Katie up at the top of your mat. We'll begin with a modified version of A series Sun Salutations, starting at the top of your mat, coming into Tadasana mountain pose. You want your feet hip width distance apart, and you want to make sure that your weight is evenly grounded into the 4 corners of your feet. Your pelvis is neutral, meaning your hips aren't sticking too far forwards or too far backwards. Your shoulders are lined up over the hips, and you're reaching up through the crown of the head. On an inhalation, sweep the arms out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Soft bend of the knees, exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. So if the hamstrings are tight or the low back is tight, you can bend your knees as much as you need to here. And maybe take a couple breaths. On an inhalation, you're going to lift up into a flat back position. So the fingertips can be on the floor, or you can place the hands on the shins. You're reaching through the crown of the head, reaching back through your sit bones. Then bringing the hands back to the floor, bend your knees and step back into plank pose. Once in plank, you're pressing back through the heels, you're reaching through the crown of the head. Actively press away from the floor, your wrists directly underneath your shoulders. If you're feeling your low back here, pull your navel in. We don't want to sag in the low back. On an exhalation, you're going to rock forward onto your tiptoes and slowly lower your body all the way down to the floor in one piece. If you notice that your hips lower before your heart, it might be a good idea to drop your knees first. Coming into a low cobra, hands underneath the shoulders. On an inhalation, start to pull your heart forward and up. Don't worry so much about how high you're lifting. Think about pulling your heart forward. And you can gently move in and out with the flow of your breath, warming up the muscles along the spine. You want to continue to reach up through the crown of the head. A lot of students like to look up towards the sky, but that can put a lot of force on the neck. So really reach long here, gazing down towards the floor. On an exhalation, lower your forehead down to the earth. You can either bend your knees or curl your toes. You're going to press up and back into downward facing dog. So in down dog, you want to make sure that your fingers are spread wide. Your middle fingers are pointing straight ahead. You're pushing your heart back towards your thighs, letting the head drop down. You can bend your knees a little or a lot, depending on how the hamstrings and the low back are feeling. And essentially you're making an upside down V, so the hips are lifted high. And on this first down dog, you can explore pedaling the heels, moving the body, and just see what feels good to you. And then on an exhalation, look in between your hands and start to walk your feet forward. Placing the fingertips either on the floor or on the shins, you're going to inhale, lift halfway, flat back, lengthen your spine, and exhale, fold. Soft bend of the knees, inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, and exhale, bring the hands together at the heart, Samastitihi. So we're going to build upon that. On an inhalation, sweep the arms up and overhead. Take a soft bend of the knees, exhale, forward fold. Hands either on the floor or on the shins. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, reach to the crown of the head. Step back into a plank position. Pressing back through the heels, reach through the crown of the head, pulling the belly in. So now we're going to lower to Chaturanga. So you're going to rock forward onto your tiptoes and lower, so you're hovering above the floor, Chaturanga, your body's in a straight line. Inhale, pull your heart through, lifting on up into up dog. So in up dog, the thighs are lifted off of the floor. The only things touching the earth are your hands and your feet. And again, you're concentrating on pulling your heart forward. You can either look straight ahead or maybe slightly tuck the chin down, whatever feels best on your neck. On an exhalation, you'll start to lift the hips up high, curl the toes under, and lift back into your down dog. Taking a couple breaths here. Now, traditionally in A series, you jump forward. So we're going to show you a variation with blocks, which can be really helpful. So you can drop down onto your knees and grab your blocks. Placing the blocks either at the middle or the lowest height, coming back into your down dog. Now it can help to bring your feet together and maybe walk the feet in a little bit. You want to look in between the blocks because that's where you're going to be going. You can bend into the knees and a couple times rock forwards and backwards because we want the hips to start to move over the shoulders. When you feel ready to jump, you want to exhale everything out, bend deep into the knees. With the breath held out, you'll lightly hop forward and you'll inhale, lift into a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, sweeping the arms up and overhead. And exhale, bring the hands together at the heart. Now we'll show you the traditional variation of A series. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Soft bend of the knees, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Now here we're going to be jumping back into Chaturanga. So it's really important that you don't jump into plank because that can put a lot of force on the elbows. So you will either step back to plank or bend deep into the knees, plant the hands down, gaze forward. On an exhalation, jump back into that low position Chaturanga. On an inhalation, pull your heart forward and up, lifting into your up dog. And then exhale, take it back into your down dog. Couple breaths here in down dog. And then bring the feet together. You can walk the feet in a little bit. Like we did before, you can bend into the knees and a couple times just rock forwards and backwards, getting your body ready. And when you feel ready to jump, you're going to bend deep in the knees, exhale everything out, look where you're going. With the breath held out, you jump forward. And inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Soft bend in the knees. Inhale, rise all the way on up. Sweep the arms up and overhead. And exhale, bring the hands together at the heart. Samastitihi.
Thanks so much for joining us today in our A series Sun Salutations. Please subscribe to the Be the Change YouTube channel for more videos like this. Namaste.
Namaste.